Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the head of state shares the work of the 60th meeting of the Council of Ministers. For the international scene, Joe Biden ratifies passage of his broad infrastructure plan. Welcome to our newsroom. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, the 16th session of the Council of Ministers took place on Tuesday, 16 November 2021. The following texts were examined and approved: Ministry of Infrastructure and Equipment. The first issue, draft law on the adoption of the 2019 financial account of the Djibouti International Airport. The financial accounts of the Djibouti International Airport for the year 2019 are stopped in income to more than 3 billion Djibouti franc and show a positive net result of 310 million Djibouti franc. During the year 2019, the revenue related to air activity have slightly increased by 4.3% compared to fiscal 2018. This increase is mainly due to the increase in the number of passengers departing from Djibouti. In 2019, the airport has started the extension and renovation of the current terminal buildings. The aim of this work is to give a new visual identity to Djibouti International Airport. The new terminal is designated to accommodate more than 1 million passengers. The realization of this investment will allow the airport to increase its operational capacity in order to improve its infrastructure issue. The second issue, draft orders approving the 2022 provisional budget of Djibouti International Airport. The provisional budget of Djibouti International Airport for the year 2022 is set up to nearly 2.5 billion Djibouti franc. This budget is based on a gradual resumption of commercial activity by airlines in the context of the economic crisis linked to COVID-19. This 2022 IDA budget forecasts a positive net result of more than 24 million Djibouti franc. The establishment plans to implement an investment program, namely the construction of the new control towers, the repair of the runway, and the acquisition of a fire truck. This budget project will enable the airport to meet its missions and the requirements of safety and air navigation. Ministry of Energy in charge of natural resources, the three-round questions, draft orders approving the estimated budget of electricity of Djibouti for the year 2022. The provisional budget of EDD for the year 2022 has been set up at 13 billion Djibouti franc for a total of 29 billion Djibouti franc, a provisional net profit of 1 billion Djibouti franc. The 2022 budget of the EDD has been drawn up in a context of a slight recovery in activity following the COVID-19 pandemic. The total planned production in 2022 is 643 million 53 megawatt. In order to continue its activity and increase production, the EDD intends to make major investment estimated at 13 billion Djibouti francs, such as the completion of the Gubet 213 megawatt line and substations for the wind farms, the feasibility studies for the three Fiale boreholes, the solar power plant project in Tojora and Obok, the purchases of two generators, G16 bis and G11, the project to develop the national interconnected networks, and the production park of the constructions of the second interconnection line. The adoption of the draft decree aims to increase the capacity of the EDD and strengthen its infrastructure. The Ministry of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection, the issue 4 draft decree on the appointment of Ms. Nasru Habib Ibrahim is appointed Acting Director General of the Djibouti Economic Development Fund. The communication at the end of the session is the Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of industry made a communication to the Council of Ministers on the Djibouti SDG Investor Map, which is a document aimed at providing a systematic analysis of national and regional investment and integration opportunities that are linked to the sustainable development goals to which our country is a signatory. The process will provide a navigable and extractable repository and of bankable projects that are available online for funding and private investors. The SDG investment platform was developed by the Ministry of Economy and Finance in collaboration with the Istanbul International Center for Private Sector Development. UNDP provides data, information and insights on investment opportunities with the potential to contribute to sustainable development. The Djibouti SDG Investor Map aims to identify areas of investment opportunities aligned with the national priorities and the needs of SDGs. The final product is a guide for investors seeking to generate a positive impact alongside financial returns through better allocations of their resources at such 8 priority sectors for advancing SDG-based investments in Djibouti have been identified. These are transport services, renewable and alternative energy, finance technology, communication, infrastructure, food, beverage, and health. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training reported on his participation in the 41st General Conference of UNESCO held from 9 to 13 November 2021 in Paris. The Minister of Energy in charge of natural resources reported on his participation in the 4th International Forum of the Russian Energy Weeks and the 27th Conference of the African Petroleum Week, which were held respectively from 13 to 15 October 2021 in Moscow and from 8 to 11 November 2021 in Dubai. The Minister of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication reported on his participation by video conference in the 10th meeting of the Board of the Director of Smart Africa, which took place on 10 November 2021. The Minister Delegate in charge of decentralization presented a mission report on his participation in the Digital Summit held from 2 to 5 November 2021 in Namur, Belgium. The Secretary of State in charge of investment and private sector development presented a mission report on her participation in the 2nd edition of the Global Women's Summit Forum held from 4 to 6 November 2021 in Dakhla, Morocco. Yesterday, after the meeting of the Steering Committee of the Sustainable Development Goals Fund, which focused on the mapping of global investment for sustainable development under the patronage of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, an important meeting followed. This meeting focused on a presentation of the joint SDG project. This high-level contribution also focused on the achievement and difficulties encountered during these discussions. Proposal for an acceleration plan was made within the National Integrated Financing Framework. At the same meeting, the National Social Protection Strategy was also discussed. It was agreed to strengthen the relationship and the UN systems and the government of Djibouti to find the necessary funding for social protection and poverty reduction. As part of her towers of the interior region, the Minister for Women and Family, Muna Osman Aden, visited the village of Dugum, accompanied by senior officials of her department and 2 members of the parliament from the region. The minister and her delegation were welcomed upon their arrival by the prefect of Tajura Hassan Dabali Ahmed and the vice president of the regional council, Mr. Abdul Umar Abdul Qadir. This was an opportunity for the minister to visit the SOS Children's Village of Tajura, where she was welcomed by the managers and the staff of this NGO. The various activities of these structures were presented to them. The delegation then headed to Dugum, where a jubilant crowd was waiting for them. After the usual greetings, the delegation visited the various community infrastructure, namely the craft shop, the infirmary, the alphanumeric classes, the day care center, and finally the cheese factory, where the cheese made by the women of Dugum was exhibited, as well as a demonstration of the cheese making process.
Sa réputation dans la production de fromage. C'est un village où on produit des fromages frais qui peuvent être consommés directement après sa fabrication. Ces fromages frais sont produits de manière artisanale. Mesdames et messieurs, Dugum est un village exemplaire pour son organisation, ses réalisations, son engagement communautaire et environnemental. Les femmes de Dugum, surnommées les abeilles, sont au cœur du développement du village. Elles participent à toutes les activités du village, telles que l'artisanat, la production de fromage, les jardins et la protection de l'environnement.
For her part, the Minister of Women and Family, Muna Osman Aden, did not fail to congratulate the inhabitants of Dugum for their sense of organization. She assured that the ministry will be at the side of the population of Dugum to continue to support them in the realizations of community development activities.
amba la dagaalanka saboolka weeyi horumarinta community-ga ooyada halka ka shaqeynaysa horumarkeega u dadaalaysa Dugumi inay u horeyso ayna muujisay dadaalka quruxda badan ee xilli walba hooyadu ugu jirto village-ka aan saaka dhex joogno waxa ka muuqda wadajir waxa ka muuqda istaageersi waxa ka muuqda wada shaqeyn aan jecel lahay inay degmooyinka dalka gudihiisa oo dhan ay u noqoto mataalo u noqoto ku dayasho u noqoto waxaan ballan qaadaynaa intaan maanta halka ka soo hirgelinay maayna in ka ballaaran inaan soo keeni karno aanan samayn karno wax isweydaarsi gobolada u dhaxeeya wax isweydaarsigaasi oo inaan isku keeni karno gobolada dalka gudihiisa kolka laga hadlo gobolada Suudka iyo gobolada Noorka si ay isku weydaarsan karaan waxbarashada amba farsamada ay hayaan si ay uga kala faa'iideystaan oon una soo ballaarin karno wax soo saarkooga ay kana la qayb gali karaan horumarka wadanka marka aad iyo aad ayaan ugu mahadnaqayaa dadkan ku nool gobolka Dugum waanan hambalyeynaya waanan dhiirigelinayaa insha Allah waxaanan ilaahay ka rajaynaynaa inaan si khayr qabto isku arki karno oon hawsha hawlka si fiican insha Allah soo qaban karno.
The Minister Delegate in charge of decentralization, Qasim Harun Ali, received on Monday, 15 November in his office the resident coordinator of the Turkish Agency for Cooperation and Development, TICA, in Djibouti, Mr. Kutluhan Yücel. Mr. Kutluhan Yücel, resident coordinator, first congratulated the minister for his appointment as head of this ministerial department and wished him every success in the exercises of his duty. The coordinator then assured the Minister of Decentralization the commitment of his agency to weave a strong cooperation in the framework of Turkish-Djiboutian cooperation. The Minister Qasim Harun Ali thanked his hostess for his visit and for the wish he expressed and recalled the strong bond of friendship and brotherhood between Turkey and Djibouti for centuries. The minister then presented the department for which he is responsible and outlined the key activities undertaken by his department in the framework of local development and good governance. The Minister of Decentralization, Qasim Harun Ali, praised the support and efforts of the Turkey through the TICA agency in Djibouti. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, received in his an important delegation from the province Alpes-Côte d'Azur region led by Christophe Madrol, regional councillors and president of the Biodiversity Sea and Coastal Commission Regional Natural Parks of the southern region. The French delegation is made up of some 15 senior officials and experts in the various fields, notably environment, energy, agriculture, tourism, culture, youth, higher education, research, economic development, and ports. The French ambassador Arnaud Guillois and his colleagues from the embassy took part in this meeting. This trip of the French delegation is part of the preparations of the visit of President of PACA regions who will go to Djibouti next year at the invitations of the head of the Djiboutian diplomacy. This trip was made possible by the signing of a territorial and regional cooperation agreement on 12 February between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Mahmoud Ali Yusuf and his French counterpart Jean-Yves Le Drian on the sidelines of the visit of the head of state in France, His Excellency Ismaël Omar Guelleh, for official visit.
Djiboutienne et la délégation française, ce seront à la fois des travaux de mécano et d'horloger. De mécano parce qu'il faut qu'on soulève le capot. C'est-à-dire qu'il faut que chaque institution se connaisse davantage, qu'il faut qu'il y ait une parfaite compréhension des attentes des uns, des propositions des autres, des ambitions des uns et des capacités des autres. Ça, c'est important. Et puis un travail d'horloger, parce qu'il va falloir entrer dans le détail. Tout ne sera pas possible tout de suite. Mais il est très important que nous puissions, politiquement, techniquement, avancer sur des projets extrêmement concrets, valorisables.
The Acting Secretary General of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Musa Mohammed Umar, said, I am honored today to welcome to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Djibouti. The Republic of Djibouti welcomes cooperation between Djibouti and Paris. The Republic of Djibouti welcomes the agreement of international and regional cooperation with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation signed in Paris with his French counterpart, Jean-Yves Le Drian. In our meeting today, we are focusing on the use of this agreement regarding the trafficking between the two countries in environment, energy, agriculture, tourism, culture, and independent society, and independent as well as I welcome to Djibouti French relation, which always reflects the long term of the two shares and the desire of the two people.
Le tourisme, la culture, la jeunesse, l'enseignement supérieur, la recherche, etc. Je forme le vœu que le résultat de nos discussions répondront aux attentes de nos autorités respectives qui accordent aux relations, au renforcement des relations bilatérales historiques et stratégiques, déjà au beau fixe entre nos deux pays, une grande importance.
The mayor of the city, Fatma Awale Osman, received this afternoon an important delegation from the PACA region led by Christophe Madrol, regional councillors and president of the Biodiversity Sea Coastal Commission, regional natural parks of the southern region in her office. This high-level delegation was accompanied by Mr. Arnaud Guillois, French ambassador to Djibouti, and senior officials from the Djibouti Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The mayor of Djibouti welcomed the delegation and expressed her satisfaction with the strengthening of cooperation in order to forge links and share knowledge in various areas of common interests between the region of the southern France province Alpes-Côte d'Azur and the city of Djibouti. At the end of the meeting, Fatma Awali Osman offered a traditional gift to her host as a of Djibouti and belief of Djibouti to Djibouti. The mayor of Djibouti, Fatma Awali Osman, held a working meeting for the important delegations of PACA region led by Mr. Christophe Madrol, regional councillors and president of the Biodiversity Sea Coastal Commission, regional natural parks of the southern region in the meeting room of the town hall. The French delegation from the PACA region continues its visit to Djibouti. This time, the the Director General of Civil Protection, Mahmoud Moussa Mahmoud, received today in his office the French delegation led by the French ambassador to Djibouti, Arnaud Guillois, and Mr. Christophe Madrol, regional councillor and president of the Biodiversity Sea and Coastal Commission's regional natural parks of the southern region. The Director of Civil Protection, Colonel Mahmoud Moussa Mahmoud, explained to the French delegation the missions, means, and services of the Djiboutian civil protection. The strengthening of cooperation between our two countries in the file of civil protection was also discussed. The delegation was given a guided tours of the barracks with the explanations from the Director of the Protection, Colonel Mahmoud Moussa Mahmoud. The delegation thanked the Director of Civil Protection for his warm welcome. Clinics of Arhiba launched the accelerated mass immunization campaign against COVID-19. The ceremony was presided over by Ms. Fatuma Mohammed Kamil, technical advisor to the Minister of Health, in the presence of the chief physicians of the polyclinic, Dr. Ali Mohammed Adu, the technical advisor Mohammed Hassan Ismail, the staff of the polyclinic, peer educator, and the elders of Arhiba district. Speaking on behalf of the Minister of Health, the advisor thanked the people of the Arhiba district and the medical staff for their warm fraternal welcomes and urged all the people of Arhiba district and surrounding areas to take full advantage of this campaign by getting massively vaccinated, while insisting on the fact that vaccinations remains the only effective remedy to protect oneself, one's family, and one's community against COVID-19.
لوتنيكي ودورانكي هكل هايستانا دوما هي وقتي كورونا فيروس بارو يميته هي كني بيا كاري اخ مسجنو افتبو كاري اخ مسجنو اخر ساسوت حلي انا متنميتي او تقحتكي افتبو هيروتني ويدورا هاي سيانا ما اساو سلامه كاسحنيمي ماغو مراكل ينيه إنها يمري ماغوهي كارتيه دولتني ارحبي دولتني هنا كادو وافاكي ميتمر ميغروها فالميغا علي يمرياني ماغو مريد يحدرهي اكلنكي كهننمي اساكو يدورا ارحبال جيتونكو اما هيانما.
Ms. Fatuma Mohammed Kamil intervened on behalf of the Minister of Health. She said, as advisor to the Minister of Health, I inform you on behalf of the Minister that we have made COVID-19 vaccines available to the population of Al-Hiba at the Al-Hiba Hospital Center. You have heard on radio and television today that the vaccine against COVID-19 is available in your neighborhood. I urge you, men, women, and young people to get vaccinated without going anywhere. For 2 years, this virus appeared and wreaked havoc, and the only option to protect yourselves is vaccination. There have been multiple vaccines. Today we have the Johnson and Chinese vaccines. Minimal size effects may occur like vaccines for children, but the benefit of vaccination is greater. We ask people with disease to get vaccinated. The only vaccination is an effective protection against the COVID-19 virus. The entire population of Al-Hiba must go to the Al-Hiba Polyclinic Center to be vaccinated as quickly as possible.
أفتبي كادو محي ينين فردينتا بنادن تو شعبي بياكتانا مهنا ما يدايلا جانا فردينتا تو أفتبي أساكون أرحت سيني تنمي أرحت كهاي ستانا فردينتان تو يدو سينام البحتان تنيه يا مري يدو محاي أرو هاي توعدنا كادو ورينا نتارجه هبوتيكا تارجه أو كهيدو هاي هانساكونا أو كبار أستكسوا أسوكا تبره يه عند مراي كذا مرا أسوا بدو يتملي تو محاي أسوا محك تني تنيكي سين دجرا كات هني ينينمي إسيا دفاع فردينتا أفكات حلتي ما فكات تميتي إسكات هان وعدنا دفاع فرديما عسكر تاني دجرا تايو دفاعي عصباها تو عصو تاني فردينتا تو هو بيكتلم هناي وركها هاكتنينا باراستامول كتتو عبيني تو سسين البحث ويتامه جيبدا بينه ملي كدا مري ما جو بيك ولا مرياني سكر بيك تاكو لبي بيك تاكو أندرو بيك تاكو لمري أفتبه يدودو خام فردينتا تو محاينكي كأنك أسون دجار كأنك ضعيف كأني مسبتها كل بيك أرحت دجارات لونه مسبتها أبيك كادو كأن ترد وعدينا نهارك كلفه كم بياكا.
As part of the fight against malaria, an operation of sensitization and spraying and disinfection to fight against the insecticide and mosquito vectors of malaria took place in all the districts of the Dakhel. The association named it the city APE of the city of Dakhel in close cooperation with the CMH of Dakhel. The operation were carried out by disinfections and spraying of the latrines of all the houses of the different districts in order to eradicate the insecticides and mosquitoes causing disease and to fight preventively against this anti-vectorial. Making the fight against narcotics its absolute priority, the Gendarmerie's judicial group is multiplying its concrete actions on the ground in order to significantly curb the scourges. It was with this in mind that on 13 November 2021, the gendarmes of the Humbuli Brigade exceptionally exploited information that a new cannabis sales point had been set up on the Dorale road in a small makeshift wheeling. Thus, surveillance missions led to the locations of the sale point in the questions and to the arrest of 2 individuals. The search carried out on the spot was positive with the discovery of 2 cups of cannabis. Immediately, the investigators began a large-scale operations to identify the storage place used by the traffickers. A few hours later, the operation was successfully when investigators found a large quantity of narcotics and several bundles of banknotes in foreign currency in a house located at Pica 13. Indeed, the gendarmerie discovered 21 cups of cannabis and, unusually for Djibouti, 4 tablets of Moroccan shit, as well as 19,000 Djibouti franc and 5,000 US dollar. The total market values of this narcotics product amount to 3,800,000 Djibouti franc. Due to the high costs of Moroccan shit, the 2 suspects were brought to justice and then imprisoned in the Gabot prison. It was following complaints lodged by a construction company that an investigation was opened by the elements of the Hodan police stations to find all those involved with the police officers of the Hodan police stations arrested several individuals accused of theft and receiving stolen materials. The stolen equipment consisted of a solar panel, several batteries, and copper cables. The thieves used the sale of the cable containing the copper on the black market for resale. The individuals who operated in a closed circle operated in a wide area. They were very well organized, and one of them was in charge of keeping watch while the rest of gang stole the materials. Following the arrest of one of them, the others were arrested. Five individuals and a fence were arrested in this case and brought before the prosecutor's office today to answer for their actions. The Djibouti Table Tennis Federation has concluded that training sessions that took place in 3 days at the Hassan Guled Stadium. These activities are organized within the framework of the Djibouti Table Tennis Federation's ITTF participation program. This program is aimed at the most active African country in the last 2 years and is entirely financed by the International Federation. 20 boys and 16 girls in the cadet junior category have benefited from its activities. Today, the Djibouti Federation of Table Tennis is a dynamic federation and has had positive points during the evaluations made by the responsible for development of Africa as the Tunisian trainer, Mr. Ramzi, and that of Burkina Faso, Mr. Paul, who were satisfied with the performance achieved by Djibouti, especially in governance participation in regional and continental events.
Tirer les activités dans le cadre du programme ITTF Performance, dont nous avons déjà commencé il y a presque depuis le mois d'octobre. Au début, il y avait les 16 heures que nous avons complétées et qu'on remercie vraiment les deux experts internationaux, M. Ramzi, qui est l'officier de développement de l'Afrique, et M. Paul, l'officier des pays de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Ce sont ces deux personnes-là qui nous ont aidés à mettre en place et à développer ces activités-là. Nos activités, nous, en République de Djibouti, étaient composées de 3 parties et un parti extra. Le premier parti était un camp d'entraînement qui a duré 3 jours, le mercredi, jeudi et vendredi, où les jeunes, les futurs champions, les futurs cadres qui se préparent pour participer au championnat d'Afrique, des pays d'Afrique de l'Ouest junior cadet, se sont préparés durant 3 jours.
For the international scene, Joe Biden ratifies the adoption of his vast plan on infrastructure. U.S. President Joe Biden has ratified his massive infrastructure plan that will move America forward again. The U.S. President signed this massive bill through Congress in a ceremony in the White House gardens, attended by Democratic and Republican officials who pushed for its passage. The law devoted $1,200 billion to the renovation of or constructions of bridges, roads, electric car terminals, and water pipes. It should also allow for the development of public transport and high-speed internet. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.